Okay, picture this. Los Angeles glittering under a velvet sky, the kind of evening where power players come out to sip champagne and size each other up. Meghan Markle had just swept back into California after a whirlwind tour that took her from Paris to New York to Washington, D.C. She'd been everywhere. Cameras flashing, stylists buzzing around her, headlines chasing her every move. But instead of dropping her bags in Montecito and scooping up Archie and Lilibet for the cozy reunion she always preaches about, Meghan did something that made even her most loyal fans raise an eyebrow. She slid right into a glossy black SUV and headed straight for Emma Grede's private dinner, the so-called women supporting women gathering that would turn out to be anything but. Now, if you're wondering who Emma Grede is and why this dinner mattered, hold on to your seat. Emma's not some random LA socialite clinging to fame. She's a legit mogul. The brains behind Good American, co-founder with Khloe Kardashian, bestie and business partner to the ultimate Hollywood puppet master herself, Kris Jenner. When Emma hosts a dinner, it's not just about good food. It's a chessboard where alliances are made and influence gets traded like diamonds. And that night, the guest list was electric. Models, entrepreneurs, a tennis pro, and right there at Emma's side, Nicole Avant, wife of Ted Sarandos, the Netflix co-CEO who literally signs Meghan's checks. Yes, that Netflix, the streaming giant still trying to figure out if Meghan and Harry's royal-turned-Hollywood experiment was worth the millions they dropped on it. So Meghan walks in. Perfect posture, that signature grin, hair like a glossy ad campaign, believing she's the star attraction. After all, she's the Duchess. She's used to rooms tilting toward her, except this time, the energy felt different. Every glance, every smirk, every subtle pause in conversation seemed to whisper, "Sweetheart, this isn't Buckingham Palace. This is Hollywood. And here, crowns don't count, results do." Emma, in her sleek black dress and effortless confidence, was radiating command. She didn't just host, she owned the air itself. When she laughed, people leaned in. When she spoke, the chatter softened. And poor Meghan, she tried to match that rhythm. The polite nods, the overbright smiles, the way she tilted forward just a touch too eagerly, it was the body language of someone desperate to prove she still mattered. This wasn't a royal gala, it was a power summit. And Meghan, for once, wasn't sitting on the throne. Fast forward to the moment that sent social media detectives into overdrive, the toast. Cameras rolled, phones hovered, and every woman at that table raised her glass. Sounds simple, right? But oh, the drama hidden in those 15 seconds. Glasses clinked, laughter fluttered, and then there was Meghan. Watch closely. She stretches her arm out, searching for a connection, her wine glass trembling ever so slightly. She's trying to clink with everyone, to be part of the sparkle, but no one quite meets her halfway. A couple of polite taps, an awkward pullback, that tight smile she wears when the moment isn't going her way. Meanwhile, Emma leans in smoothly, confident, magnetic, commanding the rhythm of the room. And Nicole Avant? Oh, Nicole doesn't even bother. She just lifts her glass, gives a cool little nod, and takes a sip. No clinking, no reaching, just pure, effortless authority. One tiny gesture, but it said everything. She didn't have to prove she belonged, she was the belonging. That's when it hit Meghan. For years, she's mastered controlled spaces. Press interviews with pre-screened questions, charity events where every move is choreographed. But this dinner was raw, unscripted, and real. She couldn't rely on perfect lighting or pre-approved talking points. She had to be interesting, not just look it. And that's where the cracks started showing. The conversations drifted around her, laughter erupting at jokes she didn't tell, stories she couldn't quite follow. She'd nod, jump in, try to steer the topic back to something meaningful or royal or global impacty. But before she could finish a sentence, boom, Emma's voice would slice through the air, louder, livelier, more captivating. The entire table's attention would pivot, away from Meghan toward Emma. You could see the realization flash across Meghan's face, that flicker of confusion followed by the micro smile that doesn't reach the eyes. It's the smile of someone who's just been publicly outshined and knows there's nothing she can do about it. From that moment on, the hierarchy was sealed. Emma wasn't just the hostess, she was the queen of this castle. Meghan, just another guest fighting to stay relevant in someone else's kingdom. The night rolled on, and things only got more uncomfortable. Meghan was mid-sentence, finally finding her rhythm, finally holding a bit of the spotlight, when Emma, animated and unstoppable, cut across her again. No pause, no polite interjection, just full volume takeover. The laughter shifted instantly. Eyes followed Emma. Meghan froze, literally mid-word, her mouth still slightly open, her eyes darting toward the other end of the table. It was one of those moments that felt like slow motion. The Duchess of Sussex, once the center of every flashbulb, silenced in real time. Her posture wilted, her hand twitched upward as if to reclaim space, then dropped. She nodded, smiled, a small, surrendering gesture that said, "Go ahead." It wasn't cruelty from Emma, it was dominance. The kind that doesn't need to be declared because everyone just feels it. The confident woman commanding space and the anxious one giving it away inch by inch. The room felt it too. Conversations softened, people watched, and Meghan, the self-proclaimed advocate for women's empowerment, looked anything but empowered. Here's where the gossip takes an even juicier twist. Remember that dainty gold necklace Meghan wore at a recent event? The one paparazzi gushed over? Turns out it belonged to Emma Grede. Yep, Meghan had borrowed it. At the time, it seemed sweet. Two successful women supporting each other. But after this dinner? Oh no, now it feels symbolic. Like Meghan's entire Hollywood persona, borrowed, not earned. Emma doesn't need Meghan's sparkle. She is the sparkle. The woman who built her empire from scratch, who can pick up the phone and have Kris Jenner on speed dial, who can launch a brand that actually makes money. Meghan, meanwhile, is out here borrowing jewelry, clout, and credibility, hoping some of Emma's shine rubs off. And that's the heart of the story. Meghan once had all the power, the title, the global spotlight, the sympathy of millions. But Hollywood doesn't care about fairy tale titles. It cares about deliverables. And Netflix, sitting at that very table through Nicole Avant, was watching closely. Because behind the smiles and wine glasses, there was another layer of intrigue. Business. Netflix has invested millions into Meghan and Harry's ventures. Documentaries, podcasts, scripted projects. But where are the hits? Where's the substance? The numbers reportedly aren't good. Viewership dips, projects stall, and PR spin can only carry the story so far. So imagine Nicole Avant sipping her wine, observing Meghan crumble in real time under Emma's natural charisma. If you were Netflix, who would you bet on? The woman who commands a room effortlessly, or the one who shrinks when someone leans too close? That dinner wasn't just a social gathering. It was an unspoken audition, and Meghan? She flubbed it. Insiders whisper that Meghan's confidence thrives only when she controls the script. And that night, she had none. No teleprompter, no rehearsed lines, no staff hovering nearby to cue applause, just real conversation and real competition. Emma thrived. Nicole coasted on quiet authority, and Meghan, the Duchess who once turned Buckingham headlines into Netflix deals, suddenly looked like a woman out of her league. The footage making the rounds online shows every excruciating detail. The strained laughs, the darting eyes, the awkward pauses. Analysts say her body language screamed insecurity, clutching her ear, touching her hair, nodding too fast. It's classic behavior of someone trying to mask anxiety in a setting where she doesn't hold the power. And the cruelest part, this was supposed to be Meghan's comeback, her grand return to LA society after her self-proclaimed rebuilding phase. Instead, it became a cautionary tale. The night she was reminded that fame borrowed from royalty doesn't always translate to influence in Hollywood. After the dinner, whispers started circulating that Emma had quietly become the woman Hollywood actually wanted. Relatable yet elite, bold but grounded, magnetic without needing to shout. The anti-Meghan, if you will. While Meghan was busy curating her brand, Emma was busy being the brand. And Nicole Avant? She didn't need to say a word. She'd seen everything she needed to. Since that night, insiders claim Meghan's been rattled, shaken by how quickly the power dynamic shifted. For years, she's been used to rooms that bend around her presence. But in one dinner, she learned what real Hollywood power feels like. Quiet, confident, untouchable. Emma's team left that night glowing. Mission accomplished, connections deepened, influence cemented. Meghan's camp, on the other hand, allegedly scrambled, making calls, spinning stories, trying to reframe the narrative before the gossip mill exploded. But it was too late. The footage told the story, and the internet devoured it. Clips went viral, commentary channels dissected every gesture, body language experts weighed in, and fans couldn't unsee what they'd seen. Meghan Markle, Duchess, activist, former Hollywood hopeful, outshined, outmaneuvered, outclassed. The irony? The dinner was billed as women supporting women. Instead, it turned into a silent battlefield of status, poise, and authenticity, and Meghan lost on every front. So where does this leave her? In the cold light of morning, the symbolism is almost poetic. The woman who once left a palace claiming she wanted wanted privacy and peace is now chasing cameras and validation at dinners where she's not the star. The woman who speaks about female empowerment found herself silenced by a stronger woman. The one who preaches authenticity was outmatched by someone who actually lives it. Grede doesn't need to sell empowerment. She embodies it. Meghan talks about lifting others up, but that night she could barely lift her own confidence off the floor. Hollywood is merciless. One night you're the toast of the town. The next you're the awkward extra at someone else's party. And Meghan's struggle to adapt from royal control to real-world chaos is becoming painfully public. Even her so-called allies are quietly stepping back. The invitations are fewer, the collaborations less glamorous. She's still famous, but fame without influence is just noise. And maybe that's what this dinner ultimately revealed. The difference between image and essence. Grede has essence, rooted power, earned respect. Meghan has image, polished, rehearsed, fragile. When those two forces collided at one Los Angeles dinner table, the results were inevitable. By the end of the night, as glasses emptied and laughter softened into murmurs, Meghan smiled for one last photo. Perfect posture, impeccable lighting, everything staged just right. But behind that smile was something rawer, the realization that she's no longer the woman who commands the world's gaze. She's a guest now, in other people's homes, in other people's power circles, borrowing jewelry, borrowing relevance, and hoping the cameras still care. Meanwhile, Emma walked her guest to the door, glowing with that effortless confidence of someone who doesn't need to try. Nicole slipped out quietly, already knowing her takeaway from the night, who had it, who didn't, and who might not be worth Netflix's next big bet. And Meghan? She slid back into her car, that smile fading as the doors closed. Maybe she replayed the evening in her head. The interruptions, the laughter that wasn't hers, the toast she couldn't quite join. Maybe she realized that the Hollywood crown she's been chasing isn't handed out at all. It's earned. The gossip circle hasn't stopped buzzing since. Was this the night Meghan Markle's Hollywood dream started to crumble? Maybe. Or maybe it was just the moment she finally saw herself the way others in power already do. Not as the Duchess, not as the rebel royal, but as a woman still trying to find a throne that will have her. Whatever the truth, one thing's for sure. That dinner wasn't just another fancy night out. It was a social earthquake. And everyone who mattered in that room felt the aftershocks.